nice wide gate. And the second one is that I do have a throat problem, but if I get stuck, my daughter Alison, who's the chief executive of our real estate division now, will come and help me. It's a long time, 53 years. And I absolutely endorse everything that Ali said here about networking, about expressing yourselves, about looking for new products, and all of the things that go with generating a business. I managed to go from coming here, having 2 meetings with 2 developers, and I joined both the companies in partnership in 1970, to at the peak in, I think it was 1995, I had 17 companies here. Sorry, I had 17 companies here. So just I'll read it to you because it's easier for me. We are truly honoured to receive that award, and I'm most grateful to you. Thank you so much. My thanks to the Sir in English for sponsoring this. As I said before, 53 years is a long time. It's been a long road, but well worth travelling, with friends, colleagues, and many thousands of clients, probably 20,000. Since 1970, we've been immersed in business here on the Costa del Sol in Northern Europe. And there are many thank yous that we just not need to mention, we must mention. Whilst constructing more than 5,000 homes on the coast and operating 17 companies in various businesses, we've been welcomed with open arms by the Spanish people, which is very important to us, and by the business community. And I think we've employed, well, certainly more than 1,000 people along the coast. Myself and my wife Carol, we've been by my side throughout this marathon. She's not so well today, so she's not with me, I'm afraid. My family members, and thank you to Spain for allowing us to develop as we have, and welcoming us in to serve the coast to the best of our ability. Thank you, all of our current and present staff, previous staff. Without them, it could not have been the success as it's turned out. And now a special thank you to my daughter Alison, who is now CEO of our real estate division, and my other daughter Daniela, who can't be here today either. She's the CEO of our telecommunications company. In 1970, things were slightly different. None of this was here. I think there were 3 villas up there somewhere. A guy I knew started to build some apartments just up the hill, and the road went from the airport through Torremolinos, through Benalmádena, Carvajal, Los Beliches, Fuengirola, Marbella, and so on. So things were different. I set up marketing throughout Northern Europe for the Costa del Sol, for our companies. We set up an exhibition division which travelled, and we had an exhibition every week. One particular guy and an assistant had a van with all the exhibition kit. He would book the hotel that he was going to, didn't matter whether he was in Brussels or in Aberdeen or in Cardiff or in London. Every week he would be there. And by doing that, of course, he filled up those infamous, if you remember, maybe you don't, it's so long ago, infamous inspection flights. When we brought people out here at weekends. So there was staff doing that every weekend, and there was staff down here with our clientele. In conjunction with our partners and other developers, we marketed and designed, in many cases built, Benamara Pueblo, Benamara Gardens, Jasmine Villas, Dos Hermanas, I mean, it goes on and on. La Cortijera, Mijas Costa, many places. During the 1970s, the following activities were added. All of this, by the way, was driven by the clientele. What did the clients want? They wanted to come and buy in Spain. So we got them here. To get them here, we took 10 or 20 seats on one flight, sometimes 5 flights. By 1977, we had 20 flights a week coming in, 20 charters, 3,000 people a week. Not all buyers, I might add. They were holiday people. There were a whole range of people. So we had 20 planes a week flying from every UK airport into Malaga. Long before, dare I mention, Ryanair and EasyJet. That was a long time before that. The CEO of my travel business then was Steve Kendrick, and a big thank you to him. He's moved on to the stratosphere somewhere with another company now. Golf tourism, I realised that the golf was a really big deal for property sales. And we started up by contracting Nick Fowler at the end of the 70s to become our marketing image, who became the greatest golfer England has produced. And all of that came together under the management of Ian Richardson, and we were taking, at that time, this was before I bought the Valparaiso Golf Club, at that time we had sometimes 7 golf courses full all week round. It was a job to get on because we had competitions there almost every week, in the 70s and 80s. Once again, I'll mention we were driven by client need. What did the client want? They wanted to fly here to look at it. They wanted to have people they trusted. So after they bought, well, they wanted us to arrange the conveyancing for them. After they bought, they wanted to have their property managed, and they wanted to rent it out sometimes. So all of those services literally followed automatically from the thousands that we were bringing in. Our construction company was going through the roof. At one point, we were building 800 properties a year. It sounds crazy, but it's true. And I must give a big thank you. He's not with us anymore, but Jose Maria Santos Ren, who was one of the best noted architects on this coast. And my architect from England, John Littlejohn, worked absolutely brilliantly, putting the developments together, building them in designs that were aimed at the North Europeans. The Spanish people, the sun has always been with them, and you will find sometimes in those days small windows, lots of screens. The North Europeans wanted the sun. They wanted glass, not quite as much glass as you see in modern buildings now. We gradually moved towards it. I added to the group 3 restaurants at that time, and we opened, well no, that was opened in 1974, our furnishing and interior design company. Once again, responding to the client need. They wanted to be furnished, we furnish it. I don't want to comment. You should know by now that I'm a serial entrepreneur. I mean, it's not good, I promise you.
Well done! Well done!
I entered into the telecommunications business here in 83, I think it was, when it was satellite television. It was before internet. But very quickly, we sponsored and helped to, well, we actually went into partnership with a company that sent the first satellites up to send internet down from satellites, and that was in the late 80s. And by the 90s, we went into partnership with Two-Way, which is the French company, and we would literally attack the whole of Andalusia through our telecommunications. Now, we're more involved in, obviously, fibre optic, television, security systems, that comes under our telecommunications division. In 1983, I bought the Valparaiso Golf Club. I must have been had too much to drink the night before or something. And, it's a golf course that was designed in 1974 by Gary Player. And now I immediately made it into a members club, a members golf club, where the members run the competitions, the members. And when I sold it, I always planned it would go to the members, and in the early 90s it did, and they run it now. In fact, this year is the 50th anniversary of the golf club, and they've just brought out a fantastic memorable book with photos going back to 1970 through to today for those 50 years. The Lawn Bowls Club at Benavista was only built because I had some green zone in between land. The town hall wouldn't let me do anything else with it, and so I put a natural lawn down and an artificial lawn, and I joined with some people from Miraflores then, and along here, and about 5 of us, and we founded the Spanish Lawn Bowls Federation, which is now operating in a slightly different way, that created a situation where lawn bowls grew down here, and in fact we went to the World Championships in the 90s and 2000s. I also once again, I must have had a few drinks one night. The tennis club, which was a mess, close to an area where I was developing, I bought it and we renovated it. It's now been renovated again. The people who we sold it to have spent a fortune on it. It's fantastic. This is at Benavista El Paraiso. And of course, during the 80s, we then built Centro Commercial Benavista, Las Palmeras de Benavista, Rincon del Paraiso. And whilst constructing the Central Commercial at Benavista, there were a few terrible accidents along right in front of me. So I tried to persuade the town hall and the Junta to build a footbridge over the carretera, and they wouldn't. So I built a new footbridge, privately financed, and I think it's the only one so far on the coast. And it's still there today.
Very well done.
Then in the 1990s till now, we have sold some of those companies. The El Paraiso Golf Club gone, the Bowls Club has gone to another entity, the tennis club, and the restaurants come to that. Our 6 companies now operating under the Experience Group name are basically in real estate sales, property management, property rentals, construction and reforms. The telecommunications, I said before, is mainly in fibre optic and 4G and 5G internet. Just to wind up, can I say the most asked question I've ever been asked while I've been here, as well as the fact, do you ever sleep or do you ever do anything else but business? And the answer to that probably is not much. The most posed question is, how can you run 17 companies within a group and be so successful? The answer is management accounting. I was trained very early, in the late 50s. I was born way before the last war. I was trained during the 50s into management accounting when we had a sheet of paper like this, where we tried to keep the details of the company I worked for as to how much profit we were making, what the margins were. So during my whole business life, which started me as an entrepreneur when I was about 23, I absolutely avidly put together management accounts for all my companies. Now, it was pretty tricky, I can promise you, when it was ledgers this size and bits of paper, and it was so difficult to have a conversation between UK and Spain. You'd wait 4 hours for a phone call, so you can imagine trying to get the data together. But then one happy day in 1994, Microsoft decided that they would bring in Excel, and lots more sophisticated things have happened since then. But for me, it was magical. I was able to translate all of the company data, I'd worked out new programs for it, and so when the information was going in, it would tell me the margins of every single product we were producing. It would tell me which of my products were making money and which weren't. It'd tell me each individual company, whether they were doing well or not, and then group together into the group. So my advice to you is to spend time on studying your company activities through your management accounts. Please, you will find you will sleep better. You will find you will know much better. You will find whenever you have to make those serious decisions, like I had to do in the recession, the oil recession of 73, the recession of 1988, the recession of 2008, and then the pandemic, you can make your decisions as to what you're going to do based on margins, facts, and what you know about your companies. Not what you think you know, what actually you know. Management accounts are yours. They're not the one that you give to your accountant or to the tax office. That's their business. You do your business however you want to. But management accounting is the whole basis of companies being able to make the right decisions at the right time for the betterment of the company. If there's anybody out there that thinks, oh, I wouldn't mind thinking about that, I'm available if you want to ring me. I'll give you a little starter, and you'll learn how to produce management accounts. I mean, when I'm talking about smaller companies, I mean below a 10 million a year turnover, but any company, 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, you can produce your own management accounts and you can be comfortable in your own self as to how you run your businesses. With your endeavours along this coast, I can see now these business people here. I'm sure this coast has many successful years ahead. And thank you very much, everybody.